The English football season is back and League Two is underway with the opening weekend of 12 matches, 24 goals and lots of entertainment as the EFL return for the 2025-26 season. We take a look at each match, how things fared for each team on their opening day of the season, Saturday afternoon starting with two teams looking for an improved season as Accrington took on Gillingham. Accrington Stanley manager John Doolan named a side that balanced grit with promise. He handed a debut to young forward Charlie Caton. Veteran Fraser Rawson captained the team from the back while Marcus Kelly stood firm in goal. The midfield trio of Brad Woods, Liam Coyle and Cameron Grant offered bite and control with Isaac Sinclair adding width and flair. Gillingham boss Gareth Ainsworth was missing both Sam Vokes and Seb Palmer-Holden. The back four featured Max Clark and Connor Masterson looking to blend steel with structure. He handed Armani Little the captain's armband once more as the visitors looked to start their push for promotion. Neither side found their rhythm in the opening 45 minutes with opportunities at a premium. Donald Love tested Glenn Morris with a dipping effort from distance while Isaac Sinclair saw his shot blocked for the hosts. At the other end, Masterson volleyed over from Max Clark's inviting corner and John Gabode lashed one over as both defences stood firm and the half ended goalless. Accrington started the second half on the front foot, probing the Gillingham backline until Tyler Walton decided to take matters into his own hands. In the 67th minute, collecting the ball on the right, dancing past Masterson and Hutton, rifling a low shot off the far post and in, sending the home fans into raptures, a moment of pure individual brilliance. But with just over 10 minutes to go, Armani Little whipped in a teasing corner. Devon Matthews turned to make a clearance, but instead nodded it past Michael Kelly and into his own net, rescuing a lifeline for the away side. The final 10 minutes were fraught with tension, Masterson throwing his body in front of a powerful drive, while Brad McKenzie headed one off the line as Accrington chased a late winner, and at the other end Kelly scrambled to deny Andrews in stoppage time, the game ending 1-1. Doolan spoke about the squad's hunger, especially players coming from non-league backgrounds, said they feel they have something to prove. Those who have come in have points and goals to prove and it shows on the pitch. Going into this one, Accrington had lost one of their last 7 matches at home on their opening fixture. That now makes that 1 in 8 with this first day point. A solid point at home, easing concerns over attacking fluency. Walton's goal underlining a great creative spark they do have though, with more to build on for Accrington. Accrington face a preliminary round League Cup tie this week as they must progress past Oldham Athletic. It's just finished and they won that one 3-1 before a trip to Crewe in League Two next weekend. Ainsworth summed up the contest as exactly what we expected, physical, intense and hard to break down, praising the fans for their away support, saying they helped the team get a point. Gillingham are unbeaten now across their last 8 away league games against Accrington Stanley. A late equaliser shows grit and set-piece quality. Fan confidence will be boosted despite they had some awful travel frustrations for their supporters. Gillingham will return home to Priestfield next weekend to take on last season's beaten playoff finalist Walsall, with another home tie to follow, this time in the EFL Cup against AFC Wimbledon. Barnet versus Fleetwood as Barnet returned to the EFL and Dean Brennan's lineup included several new signings like the goalkeeper Owen Evans, joining permanently from Cheltenham. Joe Hugo on loan made his first appearance as well in competitive action. For Fleetwood, they went for known quantities mostly in their starting lineup, opting for squad stability, their starting 11 involving a few if any summer signings. The Hive Stadium brimmed with anticipation as Barnet made their long-awaited return to the EFL after a 7-year exile. From the first whistle, the Bees looked hungry, and in the 10th minute, Idris Kanu saw a low-drive save from a stretching Jay Lynch. Barnet thought they'd taken the lead when Ryan Glover's deflected effort found Danny Collins, whose tap-in was ruled out for offside. That disallowed goal did seem to shake Barnet's confidence. In the 22nd minute, keeper Owen Evans strayed from his line. He lost the ball and gifted it to Will Davis, who had the chance to roll the ball into an empty net and silence the home crowd. Fleetwood doubled their lead in the second half. In the 50th minute, a Ryan Graydon effort was parried and skipper Elliot Bonds was quickest to pounce on the rebound to make it 2-0. Desperate to change the tide, Brennan introduced Scott High, Callum Stead and Ollie Hawkins to inject pace and creativity, and High almost half the deficit with a thunderous 25-yard strike, only for it to deflect wide. In stoppage time, substitute Dennis Edeniran unleashed a fierce drive that narrowly missed the top corner, and despite those late dramas, Fleetwood held firm for a deserved 2-0 victory. Barnet head coach Dean Brennan was very critical of his players after their return. Goalkeeper Evans was caught on the ball a number of times in the first half, and Brennan said he had to own that performance. This was just the third EFL meeting between Barnet and Fleetwood, and first since Barnet won this exact fixture 2-0 in March 2013. It's a harsh wake-up call for Barnet after their National League success. Their defensive frailties were exposed early and Brennan was not happy in the slightest. Barnet will open up their away league game at Bromley next Saturday with them out of the EFL Cup with the defeat to Newport last week. Then they will take on Walsall at home in the league the following Saturday. Pete Wild was delighted with the win, saying, "I'm really pleased that we were front-footed and worked on our press. We stayed high and we took our opportunity." Fleetwood had won just one of their 4 pro away matches that had come on Matchday 1 of an EFL season, so they'll be delighted to start this one on a more positive note. A fast start to the season for a Fleetwood town side who were ruthless on the counter. Their Liverpool loanies impressed in attack, and an away win on opening day, something to enjoy. Up next for Fleetwood, it's a trip to newly relegated Bristol Rovers ahead of an away EFL Cup tie at Barnsley. Bristol Rovers took on Harrogate Town and Rovers began their League Two journey back under Darryl Clarke, the lineup blending returning favourites with fresh arrivals. Luke Southwood making his debut in goal, while Jack Sparks and Josh McEachran also earned their first starts in blue and white. Alfie Kilgore reclaimed the captain's armband in defence, and Promise Omachere led the line with Ruel Soroteriu just behind. On the bench, Ellis Harrison and Bryant Belongo waited to make their own returns and debuts respectively. Harrogate, steady under Simon Weaver, named a side built on continuity but not without new blood. Goalkeeper James Belshaw anchored the backline, debutant Ryan Smith featured in midfield alongside the experienced Bryn Morris and Josh Evans. Up front, veteran Mark Bennett offered a focal point with Samuel Duke McKenna adding spark from wide areas. The Memorial Stadium were hopeful and the first big chance saw Clinton Mola pounce on a loose ball only to thump his close range effort over the bar, leaving home fans gasping. A corner soon followed and Taylor Moore rose highest. His header crashed against the woodwork before Anthony O'Connor slid in to deny Alfie Kilgore from the rebound. In the 63rd minute, substitute Sean Mikulski cleverly held up play before slipping the ball to Bryn Morris. From the edge of the box, Stephen Duke McKenna delivered their first shot on target, chipping it crisply over Southwood and into the top corner. The Guyana's international moment of magic silenced the crowd, sparking wild celebration amongst the away supporters. Desperation set in as Clarke threw on Ellis Harrison and winger Shrewsbury. Harrison did everything right but saw his powerful header smash back off the upright. Between those flashes, Warren Burrell epitomised Harrogate's grit, throwing himself into a last-gasp tackle to deny Ollie Dewsbury after a Jack Sparks free kick. Harrogate had earned a slender yet vital 1-0 victory on the road. Darryl Clarke was pragmatic in his post-match comments. "We can't afford lulls, especially when we're at home. That 30-minute period has to be a 90 minutes for us, at least 60-70-minute period if that. I didn't see enough of that after half an hour." Bristol Rovers and Harrogate Town have met just twice previously in the EFL, and the Gas had won both of those matches previously, so it's a historic win for their opponents. Despite 60% possession, wave after wave of attack, the Gas couldn't find the breakthrough. Bristol Rovers will need to regroup quickly as they chase their first goal and point of the campaign. Darryl Clarke will take his team on their travels next week as they take on Fleetwood Town before they return home for an EFL Cup tie at home to Cambridge United. Simon Weaver was really pleased, saying it was a deserved win. "We knew it would be a difficult game, but the lads got their rewards for putting in a great team performance." After winning each of their first 4 opening day EFL fixtures between 2020 and 2023, Harrogate lost last season's 2-0 to Bromley on home soil, but they made it 5 wins out of 6 on the opening day of a league season this time. A reward for a battling, gritty performance from them, with many questioning their season chances this way. It was a great way to respond and get off the mark away at a recently relegated League One side. Harrogate open up their home campaign with a visit of Grimsby Town next Saturday, with another home tie, this time in the Cup, as Lincoln City visit the following Tuesday. Cambridge United took on Cheltenham Town as manager Neil Harris introduced Louis Apore and Ben Knight into the starting lineup, both summer signings amongst others making their debuts and entrusted from day one in key roles. Cheltenham made limited activity in the window so far with several departures, so they opted mostly for continuity. And they went for a 4-2-3-1 formation in this one. The first real chance for the home side came in the 15th minute when Sully Kaikai whipped in a dangerous free kick, finding Don Ball unmarked, only for the midfielder to head wide from close range. Cheltenham responded through George Miller, who tested debutant keeper Jake Eastwood with a low drive after beating Kellen Watts. Eastwood was calm and composed, pushing it away. Ben Knight, with a local lad, point to prove for him, lighting up the first half with 2 dazzling runs drawing fouls and yellow cards. His free kick from 20 yards out, narrowly missing the top corner, but his confidence was undeniable. Cambridge coming out firing after the break. Knight and Kaikai combined to carve open Cheltenham's defence. Kaikai's curling shot from a tight angle went just wide, Moments later, he was denied by heroic goal line clearance from Dara Power. Then came the moment. 59 minutes, Liam Bennett surging down the right delivered a low cross and Kaikai's shot was blocked by Joe Day's legs, but the rebound fell perfectly for debutant Louis Apere, who had just started the move near halfway. He made no mistake slotting home from close range to send the Abbey into raptures. Cheltenham pushed for an equaliser, but Cambridge's defence held firm for opening day victory. Striker Louis Apere spoke after his goal in his debut, said, "I'm buzzing with that. My family here to watch as well, coming down from Scotland." Cambridge are now unbeaten across their last 8 EFL openers when played on home soil, not losing on the opening day at home since the 2002-03 season. A debut goal for Apere, a commanding performance from Knight and a clean sheet for Eastwood. Neil Harris couldn't have asked for a better start. More goals for their dominance ideally if he's been picky, but 3 points nonetheless. Swindon is the venue next weekend as Cambridge hit the road in League Two with an away EFL Cup fixture the following midweek at Bristol Rovers. Flynn was honest about his team's lack of creativity and the nature of the defeat. There was no real quality on a cross or a through ball, he said, but I'm not going to have a go at the players after the first game of the season. Cheltenham Town had lost only one of their last 11 league meetings with Cambridge, going unbeaten in 5 heading into this one, but coming away with nothing this Saturday afternoon. They struggled creatively, only a few chances creating, worrying in the final third, but weeks to come in the transfer window to try and help things there. Cheltenham host Chesterfield in their first home match next weekend, with Exeter coming to play on the following Wednesday in the League Cup. Chesterfield versus Barrow, and with Tyrone Williams still sidelined, the back four took shape with Vontae Daly-Campbell and Lewis Gordon flanking the experienced pairing of Shay Dunkley and Carl McFadzean. In midfield, the creative spark came from Liam Mandeville and Dylan Marcandy, with Marcandy in particular handed a more advanced role. Barrow went for a balanced setup, Connor Mahoney, Innes Cameron and Rakeem Harper forming the attack, and the backline featured Sam Foley, Neil Canavan and Charlie Raglan, a trio built on grit and aerial prowess. The opening exchanges were typical of an opening day, tense, tight and tactical. Chesterfield had the lion's share of possession, but Barrow's shape and discipline kept them at bay. Armando Dobra fired wide in the first meaningful attack, and Will Griggs' tame header was easily gathered by Will Stanway. Then came the breakthrough just before half-time. Dylan Duffy whipped in a teasing cross from the left. Dylan Marcandy met it at the near post with a glancing header, took a wicked deflection off Charlie Raglan, wrong-footing the goalkeeper and nestling into the net. Barrow came out with more aggression in the second half. Manager Andy Wing made several changes, including the introduction of Tom Barkhausen, whose pace and directness injected life into the Bluebirds' attack. Innes Cameron had the best chance to level, bursting through the defence, finding himself one-on-one with Zach Hemming, but the Chesterfield keeper stood tall and made a crucial block with his legs. Chesterfield did have a penalty shout when Ryan Sturt went down the box, but referee Alan Young waved it away, and Dobra nearly doubled the lead after a mazy run, but a heavy touch allowed the keeper to smother. Chesterfield winning this one 1-0. Chesterfield assistant manager Danny Webb was pleased with his side's opening day victory. We showed a willingness and bravery with and without the ball and played the way the manager wants us to play. We did the dirty stuff as well. Chesterfield completed a league double over Barrow last season in League Two and made it 3 wins now in succession against the Bluebirds in the EFL for the first time since 1933. Despite a few sloppy moments and tired legs, Chesterfield managed the final minutes well. They saw out the win, Paul Cook's side showing resilience, flashes of quality and hunger. Next up for Chesterfield, they take on Cheltenham Town away next Saturday afternoon before they return home with Mansfield in the EFL Cup. Andy Wing said, "The goal is poor. It's the only kind of mistake we've made the whole game, with 2 chances to clear it and then everything after is reactionary." Barrow have won just one of their 28 away Football League games against Chesterfield now in their history. It's a bit of a graveyard for them and they haven't recorded a success since 1967. Defeat for Barrow was expected though looking at the pre-match odds, but it didn't really show threat from their team until the second half substitutions, much to improve for Wing's side. On the horizon for Barrow, they entertain MK Dons next weekend before hosting championship opposition in the EFL Cup with the visit of Preston. Colchester United against Tranmere Rovers, and the home side boss Danny Cowley named a side where Matt Macy in goal, a back four featuring captain Tom Flanagan and debutant Kane Vincent-Young. In midfield, Teddy Bishop and Ben Perry offered control, while Aurora Edwards and Harry Anderson brought width and urgency. Up front, Jaden Williams and Will Goodwin formed a youthful strike partnership, both eager to make their mark. Tranmere under Andy Crosby arrived with quiet confidence and a refreshed squad. Luke McGee made his debut in goal, while defenders Nathan Smith and Jordan Turnbull anchored a back three alongside Lee O'Connor. Up front, Connor Jennings led the line, flanked by Josh Davison and Amari Patrick, both making their first league starts for the club. Tranmere drew first blood on 15 minutes when a corner wasn't dealt with at the near post. Cameron Norman's flick found Richie Smallwood, whose header ricocheted into the path of Jennings. With the box in disarray, he calmly swept a low drive past Matt Macy into the corner, silencing the home crowd and sending the away end into rapture. Instead of withering, though, Colchester roared back. Just 9 minutes later, Amari Patrick unleashed a dipping 25-yard free kick. Macy had to palm it away low to safety, but debutant Jaden Williams curled inches wide of Luke McGee's far post. The second half morphed into a chess match, Tranmere boss Crosby rolling the dice with fresh faces, Taylor Harris and Jason Lowe among substitutes, but the flow was stalling under a barrage of free kicks and tactical changes. Then, in the 87th minute, defender Jack Tucker slipped a weighted pass into the box, weighted like a coil spring. Kyrus Lisby cushioned the ball and rifled a right foot rocket into the top corner, his first goal for Colchester. It rescued a point for the home side and left the crowd with something to cheer in a 1-1 draw. Danny Cowley was pleased with the way his side finished their draw with Tranmere after describing their first half display as boring. Following the 1-1 draw, Colchester are now without a win in their opening league game of the season in each of their last 12 campaigns, which is the longest ongoing run of any side in England's top 4 tiers. A real positive though with a late equaliser from Lisby, promising impact from the 21-year-old to rescue what would have ended up being a disappointing opening day. Next up for Colchester, it's a trip to newly promoted Oldham Athletic in the league ahead of an EFL Cup tie away at Championship Oxford United. Crosby was encouraged by how his team executed their game plan, so it was pleasing to see some of our pre-match work come to fruition. We looked organised and created chances early on. Tranmere have failed to win each of their last 6 away EFL games at Colchester now since a 2-0 victory back in March 2019, winning just one of their last 10 EFL Matchday 1 games as well. That was back with a win over Walsall in the 21-22 season. An early lead for Tranmere, but they couldn't hold on. They missed the opportunity to start strong, but they'll certainly be pleased how they troubled their opponents away from home. They'll now start a run of 3 consecutive home matches, starting with a lunchtime kickoff against Shrewsbury in the League Two, and then Burton Albion the following Tuesday in the EFL Cup. Grimsby Town, Crawley Town, and David Artell's first choice 11 featured 3 summer signings making their club debuts, which included Christy Pym in goal and a back 4 of Harvey Rogers, Douglas Tarm, Cameron McJanet and Jaden Sweeney, while in midfield George McEachran anchored the base as Jazza was handed the lone striker role. Relegated from League One, Crawley's starting 11 included fresh faces such as Harvey Davis on loan from Liverpool in goal. They also featured recent acquisitions like Gavin Holohan and Kabongo Chimanga, are each deployed after a substantial squad overhaul. Just 9 minutes into the contest, Crawley goalkeeper Harvey Davis clipped Kieran Green in the box, leaving referee Scott Jackson with no choice but to point to the spot. The early goal only emboldened Grimsby, and on 30 minutes, Charles Vernon's corner found centre-back Cameron McJanet, who powered a towering header into the net to double the lead. For the half-time whistle, Cabia rattled the crossbar from distance, underlining the dominance the host had in that opening 45 minutes. After the break, though, they retained control, but they had to wait until the 64th minute to seal the victory. Amid a scramble of block shots, 18-year-old Evan Corey unleashed a thunderous pile driver from the edge of the box, rifling the ball into the bottom right corner. Crawley's sporadic forays were snuffed out by a disciplined Mariners defence and the composed handling of Christy Pym between the posts. As the clock ticked down, Grimsby managed possession with ease, the final whistle greeted by jubilant cheers echoing around Blundell Park. David Artell was pleased with the result but remained focused on improvement. We were dominant in all over the pitch. You don't have 41 touches in the opposition box otherwise. Grimsby had failed to win any of their last 4 opening day EFL games and failed to score in each of those matches, but reversed those fortunes spectacularly to kick off this campaign. The 3-0 scoreline served notice that Grimsby mean business this season. Cabby's composed debut, McJanet's aerial dominance and Curry's spectacular strike showcasing a squad brimmed with fresh talent and ambition. Grimsby's first away match of the season will see them travel to Harrogate Town next weekend before hosting an EFL Cup tie against Shrewsbury. Scott Lindsay didn't hold back in his post-match assessment. We were rubbish, and that's the truth of the matter. We weren't very good at all. I think it was 57 minutes before we had a shot on goal. Crawley recorded a first ever EFL double over Grimsby during the 23-24 season when they last played, but when starting an EFL campaign on the road, Crawley have lost each of their last 5 games now. This leaves them with plenty to ponder this season. Defensive solidity and attacking cohesion must be sharpened ahead of next week and beyond. The home Crawley fans get to cheer their team on next weekend at home to Newport County before heading to Wales themselves with a League Cup match away at Swansea City. MK Dons took on Oldham Athletic, and the Milton Keynes boss Paul Warne handed debuts to defender Jack Sanders and forward Aaron Collins, blending them in a lineup anchored by the experienced Craig McGillivray in goal and captain Alex Gilby in midfield. Across the pitch, Oldham's Mickey Mellon marked the club's Football League return, giving first starts to fullback Jordan Leake and striker Mike Fondop-Talon. Veteran Tom Conlon wore the armband, while Matthew Hudson stood in goal. The opening exchanges of this one were cagey, both sides probing but hesitant to commit. Oldham's Kane Drummond tested the waters early, curling a shot just wide from the edge of the area, while MK Dons saw a frantic penalty appeal for a challenge on Collins turned down by the ref. Rushian Hepburn Murphy then darted on the break, teeing up Collins only for Matt Hudson to smother under pressure. After the interval, the chances remained scarce as midfield battled for supremacy, and it wasn't until the 88th minute that Oldham mustered the game's first and only shot on target. Mike Fondop's fierce strike smartly saved by goalkeeper Craig McGillivray. A late deflected Lecco delivery nearly snuck in, but goal line heroics again sent it behind. Grit and organisation prevailed, but sadly no goals for either side. Paul Warne was optimistic afterwards though. He said there were parts of our play I liked, we just missed that goal. I think if we got one we'd have had a lot more control. MK Dons have won 8 of their last 10 league games against Oldham going into this one, averaging 2.5 goals per game across that period, but nothing in this one. Including at home to newly promoted Oldham, MK Dons have now failed to have a shot on target in 5 different league games in 2025, which is at least 2 more times than any other club across England's top 4 tiers. Next up for MK Dons, it's a trip to Barrow next weekend in the league and an away EFL Cup tie to follow against Championship opposition in Bristol City. Mickey Mellon was proud of his team, said I trusted the players and I knew that we'd got a lot of qualities in the group that would get us a chance of getting something out of it. Oldham had lost each of their last 6 opening fixtures of an EFL season, scoring just 1 goal in total across that time. And while there was no goals here, they did avoid defeat against one of the division's favourite for promotion. Disciplined under Mickey Mellon, they'd managed just 1 shot on goal, but they left with that hard-earned point and they marked their EFL return in the right way. Oldham have to navigate a preliminary EFL Cup tie against Accrington Stanley in midweek. That's now been completed, Accrington winning that one 3-1, so Oldham out the EFL Cup, but their home crowd do get the chance to welcome them back to League Two at the weekend with the visit of Colchester. Newport County manager David Hughes named a side that blended youth and experience, with goalkeeper Nick Zanev making his competitive debut. Kai Whitmore and Cameron Antwi provided energy, with Ben Lloyd supporting debutant striker Michael Reindorf and the seasoned Gerard Garner. Notts County, led by manager Mark Patterson, arrived in a lineup that hinted at attacking ambition. Kel Roos started in goal, shielded by a back 4 that included debutants Barry Cotter and Sonny Algeoffrey. Matt Palmer captained the side from midfield, joined by Tom Yapenda and Kellen Gordon. Up front, Jody Jones, Matthew Dennis and Connor Grant formed a lively trio. An hour before kick-off in this one though, Rodney Parade fell eerily silent. There was 2 air ambulances that needed to be touched down onto the pitch to treat a seriously ill travelling fan. It forced the supporters to evacuate the stands, play eventually beginning at 4 p.m. Once underway, Notts County stamped their authority on the contest, enjoying 62% of possession and 5 of 10 attempts to Newport's solitary shot before the break. Connor Grant rattled the crossbar with the first half volley, Yapenda dragged a close range effort just wide and Jody Jones saw a low drive tip behind by the keeper. Newport emerged with renewed belief, and just 4 minutes after the restart, Ged Garner ghosted in the near post to head home Lee Jenkins' long throw, giving the Exiles a dream start to the second half. Notts County though refused to buckle. In the 65th minute, Matt Baker was penalised for hauling down Matthew Dennis in the box, and Jody Jones coolly dispatched a spot kick into the bottom corner to level the scores. Shortly afterwards, Reindorf rattled the woodwork with a fierce effort from distance, but neither side could find a winner in the closing stages. Hughes was proud of his team's resilience and work ethic. We have provided a platform in these first 2 games, he said, to what needed to underpin our performances moving forward. Newport have won just 1 of their last 12 Football League openers, but the opening day excitement turned to concern with the worry over the supporters' well-being. David Hughes praised his squad's mental toughness and work rate after the final whistle, insisting that his battling performances will serve as a foundation for the season ahead. Newport go on their travels next Saturday to play Crawley Town before they entertain Millwall in the EFL Cup the following midweek. Stuart Maynard expressed measured satisfaction with his team's performance, saying we dominated large parts of the game and created enough chances to win it. Newport County have failed to win any of their last 5 now against Notts County, as Notts keep that unbeaten record despite not recording a victory on this occasion. Notts dominated early but couldn't convert. They missed the chance to make a statement, but undoubtedly the game was affected by that delayed kick-off and a strange feeling all round. Notts County in action on Saturday lunchtime next with the visit of Salford City, with Wigan Athletic awaiting in the EFL Cup the Tuesday after. Salford City versus Crewe Alexandra, and Salford's teenage goalkeeper Matthew Young made his debut between the posts, with George Grant and Kadima Harris, both summer signings, adding flair and control in midfield. Luke Garbett captained the side from left back, and Cole Stockton led the line, with Ben Woodburn offering support. Crewe under Lee Bell named a side beat on youthful energy and tactical balance. Debutant Tom Booth in goal, but Emery Tesgale on loan from Stoke was a new face on the bench only. Captain Mickey Dimitri anchored the defence, and midfielder Charlie Thomas adding drive and creativity amongst others. The game burst into life inside the opening 5 minutes when Salford were awarded a penalty for a foul on Adebola Oluwu. Ben Woodburn's thunderous strike seemed destined for the top corner, but debutant goalkeeper Tom Booth dived at full stretch, palming the ball to safety. It was an early birthday present as well for the 21-year-old shot stopper. 8 minutes in and Crewe took an unlikely lead. James Connolly's driven effort creating a goalmouth scramble. Salford winger Kadeem Harris inadvertently deflecting the loose ball over his line, with the away end erupting. Salford's response though was swift. In the 16th minute, Harris etched his name on the score sheet the right way round, curling a low effort beyond Booth's reach after a slick build-up play. From that point, Crewe seized control. Just before half-time, Josh March's pinpoint cross found midfielder Connor Thomas, who made no mistake from close range to restore the lead in the 41st minute, and with the clock in stoppage time, a smart cutback from Tommy O'Reilly allowed Thomas to double his tally, putting them 3-1 up at the break. No goals in the second half, despite O'Reilly hitting a crossbar for Crewe, an opening day win for the visitors. Carl Robinson was frustrated by defensive lapses, and the goals were preventable. I've spent a long time in there going through multiple aspects where we need to do better. Salford City were unbeaten across their last 4 league games against Crewe, scoring 9 goals in total during that time, but were well undone here in the first half. 2 of the last 3 occasions of a player both scoring a goal and an own goal in League Two have actually been by Salford players. Matt Smith, the last one against MK Dons in March 2024. Away match up next in League Two for Salford as they head to Notts County, with a home EFL Cup tie against Rotherham United in midweek. Bell was delighted with his team's energy and execution. This is probably one of the toughest places you're going to come. Salford are a really good team, and I expect them to be up and around it come the end of the season. Since the 95-96 season, Crewe have won just 2 of their 13 opening games of an EFL campaign when playing away from home. With this emphatic 3-1 scoreline, it really does boost their start to the year. They scored 3 first-half away goals at Salford for the first time in a league match since January 2021 against Rochdale. Crewe will return home next weekend, entertaining Accrington Stanley, ahead of an away EFL Cup Round 1 clash with Stockport County. Shrewsbury Town versus Bromley. It's Shrewsbury under Michael Appleton starting debutant goalkeeper Tom Savin, shielded by a back 3 of Tom Anderson, Stuart Stubbs and Will Boyle. Wing-backs Luca Hula and George Nurse added width. Sam Clucas and Harrison Biggins anchoring the midfield, Alex Gilliard operating just behind the front 2, Anthony Scully and captain John Marquis as the attacking threat. Grant Smith started in goal for Bromley with Deji Elaware, Kyle Cameron flanking captain Byron Webster in a sturdy back 3, Ashley Charles and Billy Thompson in midfield with Marcus Eiffel and Mitchell Pinnock offering width. Up front they had Michael Cheek leading the line with debutant Michael Denanga, both tasked with unsettling the Shrews defence. Shrewsbury returned to 4th tier football for the first time in over a decade, hopeful to respond on the opening Saturday for the fans. They had a chance early, John Marquis rising highest only to glance his header wide, before Anthony Scully twisted free on the edge of the box and saw his shot fingertipped away by Grant Smith. The other end, Corey Whiteley threatened for Bromley with a near post strike that skimmed over, and Michael Cheek had a penalty appeal turned down when he went down under a challenge inside the area. Just as momentum looked set to favour one side, the match ground to an unexpected halt. There was a linesman injury, barely 30 minutes in, prompting a 17-minute delay when a volunteer official was summoned from the crowd. The second half followed a similar pattern, moments of promise but an elusive cutting edge. Shrewsbury probed with neat 1-2 combinations, while Bromley's quick transitions kept the hosts honest. Michael Appleton introduced Taylor Perry and George Lloyd to inject fresh legs, yet neither team could fashion a decisive opportunity. Elariwa headed narrowly over in stoppage time as the closing stages ticked away, a goalless draw. Michael Appleton acknowledged his team's defensive resilience, and the good thing is that we are 25 to 30% down in what we're capable of today, but we are able to look reasonably comfortable to keep a clean sheet. This was actually the first competitive meeting between Shrewsbury and Bromley. 0-0 hardly a classic, but a point at least for both sides. In a low-scoring League Two curtain raiser, neither side could find the breakthrough. Each will take something to build on though from this tight contest. Next Saturday lunchtime, Shrewsbury will travel to Tranmere for another away match in the Cup with Grimsby the following midweek. Woodman was frustrated by the unusual stoppage. He said, I had to address it because I've never seen anything like it. Just kills the whole atmosphere and momentum of the game. During the 24-25 League Two season, Bromley lost just 2 of their 8 league games against sides who were relegated from League One, making that 1-from-1 here this season as well. What was encouraging for Bromley is they created chances, they're unlucky not to score, and a point away to start off with gives them a base for the weeks ahead. Bromley are at home to Barnet next weekend and then host recently Premier League relegated Ipswich Town in the EFL Cup on Tuesday the 12th. And finally, Walsall versus Swindon Town. Walsall started this one selecting debutant Evan Weir in his first start in midfield, alongside experienced heads like Aidan Flint and Brandon Comley. Young forward Jay Stutter was handed a starting role, supported by the energy of Jack Jellis and the creativity of Cian Lakin. Matthew Roberts as well keeping goal. Swindon, under the charismatic Ian Holloway, named a side brimming with new faces and youthful promise. Goalkeeper Carl Ripley made his debut, while defenders Tyler Wilson-Brown and Freddie Munro joined captain Ollie Clark in a reshaped backline. Gavin Kilkenny anchored midfield alongside debutant Josh Snowden, with Aaron Dreenan and Tom Nichols leading the attack. Now, if there's a way to score your first goal of the season for a team, this was it for Walsall. In the 8th minute, Evan Weir shaped the ball over the wall from 30 yards, sending it arrowing into the top left-hand corner, silencing the travelling supporters. A thunderous opener. Yet the afternoon's narrative took a twist just 13 minutes later. Defender Comley, in a moment of desperation, hauled down Aaron Dreenan as he bore on goal. It gave him a straight red. It left Walsall to brave the contest with 10 men for over an hour. Swindon, sensing blood, seized control. They passed with precision around the park and probed for weaknesses, until the 79th minute though it took, when Harry Smith was clipped at the far post. Will Wright stepped up and slotted the penalty low into the bottom left corner, levelling the scores and leaving Walsall hanging on. But just as injury time loomed, heroics arrived from Connor Barrett, ghosting beyond the offside trap in the 91st minute. The wing-back bore down on goal and placed a composed finish past Ripley. The stats tell their own story. Walsall managed just 26.7% possession, but showed ruthless efficiency with 5 attempts and 4 on target, while Swindon racked up 16 attempts and 5 on goal, yet were beaten at the death. Matt Sadler's team showed resilience and emphasised the need for energy and discipline. He said, "We've set high demands on them in terms of what we expect on the pitch, and we saw it through." When starting an EFL campaign on home soil, Walsall have now won each of their last 6 matches, including the 1-0 victory over Morecambe last season. With a stoppage time winning goal against Swindon, 10-man Walsall earned their first home win in League Two in 7 attempts. Much more will be needed though to help heal the wounds of last season, but a relief to get an opening day win at the very least. Walsall away next weekend with a trip to Priestfield to take on Gillingham, with another away fixture this time in the Cup to follow, heading to Championship Stoke City. Holloway, though, was unhappy with the crowd after an incident. He said, "I'm a human being who loves this game, but I also love other human beings. You don't rip out a seat and throw it at someone. Whoever you are, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to hunt you down and find you." A classic Holloway quote there. Swindon had lost just one of their last 11 opening day fixtures in the EFL, averaging over 2 goals per game in that period, and looked set to pick up a draw here before the late drama. Disappointing, of course, to lose on the opening day, particularly in the late fashion it emerged in, but Swindon fans will stay with the team and look forward to what's ahead. A chance for Swindon to impress in front of their home fans next weekend with a visit of Cambridge United, before an away trip at Cardiff City in the EFL Cup. So the league table, it doesn't matter much, of course, after Matchday 1, but if you're sitting near the top, it's always positive viewing. For Grimsby, Crewe and Fleetwood fans, it makes wonderful viewing. Not so much for Barnet and Crawley, who should look away and hope for better things by the time they come back next week. For a live weekly chat on League Two, as well as all 3 EFL leagues, do check out the Absolute Football podcast on a Thursday at 8:30 with our Absolutely Lower League show with Charlotte and the team. I will be back next week with the Matchday roundup for the second week of League Two action. Until then, have a great week and I'll catch you on the next one.